Chapter 3 Dis and Rebirth Cosmic Spec Dawnbreaker. Oh, okay. In the early morning, street lamps cast a bright, lonely glow across the snow-covered streets. It makes the city appear deserted. Barely able to keep his eyes open, a boy dozed off in the priority seat. He swayed back and forth during the trip until he finally bumped his head. It was before the bus stopped, too.
Ow!
Now arriving at Azure Square Station.
As soon as he gets off the bus, cold wind mixed with snow hits his face. It washes away his drowsiness. He rubs his eyes. Upon realizing where he is, his gaze instantly lights up.
Judgy, wake up! We're here!
The journey between the Arctic and Lincoln City spans thousands of kilometers. After several transact changes, he finally returned to his starting point, all because of some mistake? After hurrying to a secluded bench and making sure no one's around, the boy carefully sits down his backpack and gives it an admonishing pat.
We're back. And you're not allowed to run off this time. Until we find the emissary, we need to stick to our usual plan. Pretend to be a regular dog whenever there are people around. You know, the fluffy kind that humans love to pet. Got it? We'll practice paw shaking later.
The boy waits for a long while, but there's no response from the backpack. Let me guess it's escaped already.
Should she?
With a growing sense of dread, he unzips the backpack only to find a hole and a few tangled tufts of white fur. The wind whistles through the gap. Oh, please don't cry. I can't comfort crying children. Hunters Association, 2 days later. Studying the documents Zayne gave me, I searched through every library and archive in Lincoln City. I tried my best to uncover the information about cosmic civilizations hidden in the biometric key, but every search has come up empty. Several days of running around have taught me one thing though: unlocking keys' secrets won't be something I can accomplish overnight. But right now, something else has caught my attention. Hey Jenna. Captain Jenna.
These are special pathological cases where the subjects retain a human's physical features, but their consciousness has been eroded. Only primitive aggression and instincts remain.
That sounds like...
For now, we're designating them as Alterum.
It sounds like Wanderers?
These Alterum share one common characteristic too. They were diagnosed with Protocore syndrome.
Protocol Syndrome. 2 days ago, I received an unexpected message from Zayne at midnight. It was long after we parted ways. I have to go on a business trip. It's not dangerous, but we might not be able to contact each other for a while. Don't worry. P.S. I'm not going to Mount Eterno. These sudden announcements had become the norm. I scrolled through my emojis and sent back a happy snowman with ellipses above its head. Oh, I know which one that is. The words Protocore Syndrome act like a signal. They connect my earliest suspicions to create a clear path. This is under Zayne's field of expertise. If only he was here. Could his sudden departure be connected to these Alterum? The description of the Alterum reminds me of those so-called specimens I encountered in Skyhaven. With the Alterum appearing in Lincoln City, does this mean the Fountain of Atay has entered another phase? Hey Tara.
But according to these forum posts, a mysterious figure has appeared these past few days. They strike before the police do, and their codename is apparently Dawnbreaker. They always manage to deal with the Alterum before the police can arrive.
Wait, what? Another urban legend?
Focus.
Jenna interrupts the off-topic discussion. The virtual display switches to show some photos from a crime scene.
As for these recent Alterum attacks, the police need a hunter to investigate and detect metaflux readings.
And that's where I come in.
Does anyone want to volunteer?
Thinking these clues might help Zayne, I raise my hand without hesitation. I'll go, Captain. Northern Ring Road crime scene. After receiving assistance credentials for my investigation, I head to Northern Ring Road that's located in the downtown area. A detective lifts the barricade tape and approaches me. After we shake hands, he leads me to the crime scene.
Thanks for coming out when there's all this snow.
I'd like to say the same thing to everyone else who's here. I set up the precision scanner I bought on the ground and turn it on. Once the scan is complete, the data will be uploaded to the cloud that the Association can access. Then a detailed report will be generated for police use.
Perfect. We've received some of the restored surveillance footage, so we can take a look at it. The surveillance equipment was damaged by the cold, though. I'm afraid the video quality won't be great.
I thought Lincoln City's outdoor surveillance systems were designed to withstand low temperatures.
The temperature dropped far below the equipment's tolerance threshold. It's safe to say the damage wasn't caused by natural means.
In the low-quality footage the detective hands me, I managed to spot an unsettling figure lurking in the darkness. The creature's form is distorted. Weapons that look like hooked tendrils grow from its body, compared to the ones I encountered before. They seem to have grown significantly stronger. What about Dawnbreaker? Did you catch them on camera? The detective shakes his head.
They managed to avoid being captured by the surveillance system. Meticulous and efficient, I'd say.
As I approach the damaged guardrail by the road, my hunter's watch immediately starts blaring an alarm. The initial metaflux readings are extremely high. The Alterum is already similar to a Wanderer.
So that's it then. We should deal with these Alterum before they completely degenerate into Wanderers. Perhaps this so-called serial killer is actually a hero.
The detective gives me a contemplative look.
However, from a hunter's perspective,
From a hunter's
do you
perspective,
see the Alterum as humans? Or are they monsters that need to be destroyed like Wanderers?
It depends. The line between humans and monsters depends on whether they've lost control. Once someone loses control, they become a monster capable of hurting others. It doesn't matter how prestigious their status might be.
What a thought-provoking answer.
The sharp wail of an ambulance siren cuts through the wind and snow. It grows louder as it approaches. We both look up, our gazes following it.
Wanderers? Alterum? The Deepspace tunnel? Sometimes I think about the kind of fantastical world I'm living in.
If only you knew, detective.
If a disaster even worse than the Chrono Rift catastrophe arrives, how much could humanity really do?
So the authorities are covering this up and classifying it as an accident. They must be trying to prevent the public from becoming even more panicked. He nods before shaking his head.
The Alterum will cause panic, not the murderer.
Seeing my confusion, he smiles.
A blood-stained murderer is more relatable than these abominations, yay or nay?
Maybe I'm overthinking it, but something about this detective seems off. In any case, the Association will provide the police with a formal energy analysis report. I should get going now. On my way home, I opened the forum post that Tara sent me a few moments ago. It's about Dawnbreaker. Let's see. Let's expose the truths about the mysterious killer who only appears in snowy dawns, Dawnbreaker. Has anyone else seen the Alterum in Lincoln City have been slowly disappearing these past few days? That's because a mysterious killer has appeared in Lincoln City, the Dawnbreaker. They appear between dawn and sunrise, vanishing without a trace at daybreak, hunting Alterum ahead of police. Inside scoop, 100% legit information, but don't ask me which insider, I can't say more. Featured comments. Missing you in Lincoln. No way this is real. My uncle works as a dispatcher at the Hunter Center and he's never mentioned anything like this. Escape from Earth at night. At Missing You in Lincoln. The last 10 people who claimed to have insider our uncles already got cease and desist letters. Want to be next in line? Dawn Shift Ender. Those Alterum things are way too terrifying. Getting rid of them quickly is definitely for the best. 4-day worker to be. LOL, fake. OP is probably just some writer hired by the site for clicks. Okay. Dawnbreaker. The Alterum and Dawnbreaker. These names sound like links in a food chain, destined to exist in a perpetual cycle of predator and prey. Those monsters, come to think of it, I am not so different from them. Will there come a day when others will try to erase my existence? As this crosses my mind again, I find myself strangely at peace. What was that? I hear a strange noise behind me. When I turn around, I notice paw prints on the ground. What kind of animal left these? A squirrel, maybe, or a stray dog. Confused, I stand there, but then a white blur darts past my periphery. My scarf suddenly tightens around my neck before vanishing. When I come to my senses, all that's left in the snow is a chaotic trail of footprints. The white blur has already vanished into the darkness around the street corner. My scarf! In the rundown, gloomy alleyway, only scattered spots of light fall upon the snow-covered ground. A dead end. It took my scarf too. Where did it go? Snow falls silently. My surroundings are so quiet that even the sound of breathing seems jarring.
Are you going to drag me back to the cocoon? I won't return. Wait. You're Dawnbreaker. Just kill me already.
Dawnbreaker. My heart races as I hold my breath and silently move forward. As soon as I turn the corner, I raise my gun at the shadowy figure. FBI here! Open up! In the dim lighting, several objects coolly flash from the figure's palm. They're ice shards, and they've pinned the teenager's sleeves and pant legs to the wall. Black crystal covers the teenager's left arm and neck, but he's different from the test subjects I've encountered in Skyhaven. The realization hits me. He's an Alterum.
I said you could kill me, not torture.
I suggest you stay quiet.
That voice. I freeze upon hearing a familiar voice and move my finger away from the trigger. In that split second, a sharp ice shard cuts through the air. It barely misses my cheek. Dawnbreaker, like the Grim Reaper, turns to face me, with cold indifference. Zayne? The white creature that has vanished into the snowy night suddenly appears from nowhere. It moves to Zayne. Oh, this is awkward. Taking advantage of Zayne being momentarily distracted, the teenager breaks free from his restraint and pulls out a knife from his waist. With desperate, wild eyes, he lunges at him. But his wrist is caught and twisted again. The cracking of a dislocated bone echoes through the alley.
What exactly is this cocoon you speak of?
Why do you need to know so much?
As if the word cocoon was burned into his nerves, the teenager suddenly jerks away. He clutches his crystallized left hand as he frantically runs to hide behind me. Spotting my gun, he forcefully grabs my hand and turns it, the barrel holding Zayne.
If you're not going to kill me, then let me go. Stay back!
A flicker of surprise appears in Zayne's eyes, but that moment of uncertainty quickly fades. His usual coldness returns. Zayne, why are you here? Zayne, who should be away on a business trip, is in a remote alleyway in the middle of the night with an Alterum teenager. He was addressed as Dawnbreaker too. Something isn't right. Questions pile up one after another in my mind as I assess the situation. I slowly try to free my hand from the teenager's grip.
You
haven't gotten to the point where death is necessary.
Zayne and I speak almost at the same time. I'm once again taken aback by the coldness of his voice.
But after tonight, that might change. The crystals will erode your body. Your skin will be split open, and your bones will be ground to dust. When it reaches your neck, you'll lose your voice. No one will hear you scream.
The person I've met before is the same one standing before me. Yet this version of Zayne, it feels like a stranger. His voice is cold, his gaze is cold. Even his breath is the epitome of coldness. Something seems to trigger a memory in the teenager. His voice trembles as his body curls like a bow being drawn back. He buries his face into his knees.
You're right. They all died like that, after emerging from their cocoons.
Cocoons?
I want to live. But if I'm going to turn into a monster, what's the point? Rather than let the cocoon turn me into a mindless monster, I'd rather die.
Zayne remains silent, and he lowers his gaze as ice crystals silently form in his palm. Is he really going to do this?
A dignified death doesn't exist. Thinking you're in control of the situation by choosing to die, you're only comforting yourself with a lie.
I see, you're not very pro-euthanasia then.
Did you escape just so you could die like a dog?
Don't lecture me with that nonsense!
The teenager straightens up and lunges at me again, his hands trembling uncontrollably, yet he grips my gun with all his strength, refusing to let go.
You're a hunter. A hunter's gun can kill a monster like me, right? Pull the trigger already!
I won't do that. You can't be serious. With a flick of my wrist, I toss the hunter's firearm away and kick it out of reach. The teenager desperately lunges for the firearm, but Zayne catches him by the waist and pins him against the wall. Stay calm. Focus on my breathing. Exhale and inhale. Exhale and inhale. You're trembling. I know you really don't want to die, so stop saying it. After several seconds pass, the teenager finally comes to his senses. He nods as if emerging from a trance. I steal a glance at Zayne. His expression is completely serene and unmoved. It's as if he's an aloof observer standing at the crossroads between life and death. I move closer to Zayne, firmly holding his hand in place, and give the teenager a gentle smile. You heard what he said, right? He said you can't die yet. He's the best cardiac surgeon in the city. If he says there's hope for you, then you have to be as optimistic about the future.
He's a doctor?
I know he might not look the part right now, but he really is the best in his field. Just don't misunderstand his intentions. You need to go, now. The teenager freezes for a moment. As soon as Zayne shifts his foot ever so slightly, the teenager spins around and runs away. Late into that night, the streets gradually darken. The light reflected off the snow makes streetlights appear soft and dim. After watching the teenager leave, I turn back to look at Zayne, who feels like a stranger. The small animal of an unknown breed stubbornly refuses to let go of his coat. It whimpers as he pushes it to the ground again. Now that's just the two of us, and this dog. Anyway, you can tell me what's going on, right? Did your business trip end early? Or did Axel Hospital call you back for an emergency? Well, I'm still asking questions. Zayne bends down to pick up the snow-covered scarf. Then he stares at me as if trying to confirm something.
Is this yours?
Huh? If I remember correctly, this is the scarf picked out 3 days ago.
Oh, then it's mine.
As soon as he says this, Zayne walks right past me. You don't know me? Why are you suddenly acting like that?
Should I know you?
Really? Really, man?
If there's nothing else, I'll get going now.
But your home isn't there.
I know.
He stops in the snow and gives me a cold glance over his shoulder. His voice is devoid of any emotion.
The subway station is this way.
Did you and... Oh no. This is not Zayne. Not our Zayne. On the empty street, our footsteps crunch in the soft snow. With his tall stature and long legs, Zayne strides quickly and widens the distance between us. I have no idea where he's heading, or why he's acting like he forgot who I am. All I can do is quicken my pace to catch up to him. Zayne, answer me! I step in front of him to block his pass. A mix of frustration and disbelief makes my chest tighten.
What's the matter?
What's the matter? That's my line! Has your Evo gone out of control again? The puppy's whose species I don't recognize catches up to us. Its gaze splits between him and me.
No, I'm perfectly fine.
Zayne casually brushes me aside and continues walking. Ugh.
Hey, I think a couple is breaking up in the middle of the street.
We're not even a couple in the first place. The puppy quickly shakes the snow off its body, giving me a sympathetic look, and then runs after Zayne, who's already walking away. No! No! Puppy! That is not what happened! The two figures soon become dots in the snowy night. Whether it's because of frustration or anger, I suddenly walk away without looking back. But after a few steps, I feel like something is wrong. Wait. The direction Zayne's heading in. My heart races as I quickly follow the footprints in the snow. Zayne lies unconscious on the ground, his brows tightly knitted as if darkness is dragging him down into its depths. Wake up! I crouch and shake his shoulders, but he doesn't respond no matter what I do. I can't just leave him like this. I try to help Zayne up. As my fingers brush against his neck, I feel a layer of frost. It's unnaturally black. Could this be related to his nightmares again? A heavy sense of foreboding weighs on my mind, but getting him out of here comes first. I struggle to support Zayne's weight as I drag him along one step at a time. Wow, even hunters have problems carrying people. I guess I'm not the only one. Why was he talking about taking the subway? This path actually leads to my apartment complex. With his weight pressing against my shoulder, even a usually short walk home felt endless. Zayne and I practically collapse onto the bed together. The snow from our coats scatter onto the floor. The little white animal anxiously bounces back and forth on the sofa. I pick it up and gently shake Zayne. Time to wake up. His eyes remain closed. A streak of black silently emerges from his sleeve and creeps down his veins until it reaches the back of his hand. The black ice that appeared on his neck has already spread to this area. I need to wake him up from this dream. I reach out toward the side of Zayne's neck and gather my power. Almost instantly, I sense the chaotic surging power raging through Zayne's body. Like a force that's been suppressed for eons and is now finally breaking free, a bone-chilling cold surges forward. It makes my entire body shudder. The power within his body is unstable. That's why he lost consciousness. At that moment, Zayne's eyes snap open and he grabs my wrist.
What are you trying to do?
He grabs my hand and pins it. Encased in ice, my wrist is already stuck to the wall once I realize what's happening. You... I take several deep breaths to compose myself. I'm trying to help you treat the black ice. When did it start appearing?
While I was dreaming.
He lets go of my wrist, and the ice crystals dissolve with it. I guess there's no point in asking. To my surprise, the black frost didn't disappear after our resonance. It stubbornly remains on his body. Nevertheless, Zayne appears much better than before. Remembering how cold he felt, I take out a thermometer to check Zayne's temperature.
Extremely low temperature detected. To protect the device and extend its service life, the system will be automatically turned off in 1 minute.
What's that? The temperature for the extremely low temperature isn't concerned. The reason for the extremely low temperature isn't concerned and tries to prop himself up. Seeing this, I pull out an old-fashioned infrared thermometer and aim it at him. Freeze! I press the sensor against his forehead and playfully pull the trigger. Pow.
You're being childish.
As expected, he doesn't move. Beep. Lost in thought, I stare at the screen showing his abnormally low temperature. No wonder all the surveillance cameras at the crime scene were damaged by extreme cold. Even though I'm not sure if it'll help, I take out 2 fever pills and hand them to Zayne along with a glass of warm water.
That's medicine. It's bitter. I'm not consuming it.
You're a doctor. You, of all people, can't complain about bitter medicine. For what must be the first time in his life, Zayne's face shows an expression that can be described as okay, and... Not knowing how to help him recover, I head to the kitchen and make him fresh carrot juice. I doubt it'll do anything though. Drink this instead, it's your favorite.
You know my preferences that well?
Zayne seems genuinely thirsty. He takes the glass, hesitates for a moment, then chugs it in one go. No way. He must be really thirsty. Well, do you want to give a more detailed review this time? He meets my gaze as the entire glass of carrot juice turns into a solid column of ice in his hand.
It's awful.
I see your hatred for carrots is written in your DNA. As the night deepens, the hustle and bustle outside my window gradually fades into silence. I gather every blanket and quilt in the house and stack on top of Zayne. Then I crank the heater up.
I'm not cold. I've already told you this. Take these blankets away.
Why don't you take them off yourself?
I don't have the strength.
Then don't move. He purses his lips only to furrow his brow a moment later.
You've been fussing over me for a while now.
Because you deserve to be loved and cared for.
Is it for a particular reason?
You're important to me. Of course I'll fuss and care over you. Uncertainty flickers in his gaze.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't want him to see my expression, so I turn away. The real reason is simple, actually. When he falls silent, I push away my chaotic thoughts and turn his cold face towards mine. Dawnbreaker, you're very famous. So, don't you dare run away or disobey me, or else I'll...
You'll what?
He asks softly. His chin is still tilted up by my hand as his gaze falls to meet mine. I'll make sure you won't live to see tomorrow's dawn. I yank the blanket up to block his voice and gaze into the darkness.
What you described is not the first time this happened to Zayne. I witnessed it once when he was doing research with me at Mount Eternal. He became a complete stranger overnight, and no one knew what happened to him.
I figured this wasn't the first time Zayne had been in this state. Dr. Noah's words only confirmed my suspicions. How did he recover from it?
That's something only he knows.
Over the phone, Dr. Noah sounds just as troubled as me.
Back then, he ventured deep into Mount Eternal by himself, as if he had something to do there. When we saw him the next day, he had returned to his usual self, the one we all knew. I guess whatever he needed to do was done.
Mount Eternal. That place seems to be hiding a burden that Zayne has never been willing to speak about. But my intuition tells me that whatever changed in Zayne must have happened before the Mount Eternal incident. Those black ice crystals, seemingly out of reach, they linger somewhere in the depths of my memories. When I open the door again, I find a ball of white fur sitting by the bed. It's wagging its tail at me. When did you sneak in? As I get closer, I notice the creature is contained within a semi-transparent dome made from the ice evo. It restricts its movements. I don't even need to ask who did this. Zayne really doesn't show mercy, huh? The puppy-like animal lets out what sounds like a bark of agreement. I reach out to dispel the evo ice barrier, then I sit down with the creature in my arms. Now, closer to Zayne, I can see his eyelashes trembling in his deep sleep. They are like the wings of a weary bird that's finally resting at home. I don't know what you're dreaming about, but I hope they're sweet dreams. Good night, Zayne. In the stillness of the night, only the white creature notices a faint sound. A subtle energy seems to be flowing. The white animal's ears twitch as it looks up at Zayne and the girl's joined hands. The cold, corrosive sensation gradually fades. A warmth surges through Zayne's cold fingertips like water traveling through a leaf's veins. For the soul that has been trapped in nightmares for so long, the unmelting black ice covering his body finally recedes bit by bit.
The investigation into the Alterum and the unidentified suspect is still ongoing. We urge all citizens to remain vigilant, avoid spreading rumors, and exercise caution when traveling alone at night.
It's already the next morning when I wake up. Groggy, I prop myself up and press my temples to clear my mind. Beside me, Zayne is still asleep. It's a rare sight at this hour. I lean closer and slowly become aware of his steady breathing. I watch as it slightly stirs the fabric across his chest. Wake up. This is payback for making me haul you home through the heavy snow yesterday. And that's for freezing my hand to the wall. Holding back my laughter, I give Zayne's nose a gentle pinch. It really hurt when you froze my wrist, so I'll pinch your nose for that.
Is messing around with people while they sleep a habit of yours?
You're back! I feel his warm breast on the top of my head. My breast hitches as I meet his slightly weary gaze. Zayne! The morning light filters through the curtains and falls onto his tousled hair. Looking into those eyes, I can tell that the familiar Zayne has returned.
Yes.
Joy wells up inside me as I wave my hand in front of his face. Are you finally awake from your nightmare? He nods, and as he stretches his neck, I see the black ice on his body has completely disappeared. This is great. You're actually back to normal.
You could phrase that differently.
Before he can say more, I embrace him. He doesn't pull away and gently wraps his arm around my waist. Congratulations! I'm the first person you saw when you woke up.
Yesterday, when I was in that nightmarish state, did I trouble you?
You were kind of childish. You were cold, distant, and had an unpredictable temper. You were even a little childish. But that was still you, wasn't it? I'll just think of it as seeing another side of you, Dr. Zayne.
Why do I hear a hint of disappointment in your voice?
Seeing that cold and willful side of Zayne, even for one night, reminded me of when we barely knew each other. I feel at ease as everything falls into place. A moment passes and I look into his eyes again. How much do you remember about yesterday? Zayne rubs his temples and sits up. Please don't tell me you have amnesia.
It's a little hazy, but I remember most of it.
Including how you froze my electronic devices and hand to the wall, and how you even told me to not be noisy? He glances away for a moment before his gaze calmly returns to me.
I also remember how you stacked blankets on me, and did a test with carrot juice.
Your memory is impeccable. So, when did those nightmares start?
They became more frequent after I returned from Chansha City. And in those dreams, I always forget who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. The me in my dreams, however, has his own mission to complete.
He presses his lips into a thin line and looks at me. The guilt he feels is clear. For some reason, the scene from last night flashes through my mind again. It stirs up emotions I can't quite name. Well, there's no more black ice on your neck and hands. Your palms are warm too. It's safe to say that you passed the physical examination. Welcome back to reality, Dr. Zayne. I open my arms and wait for him to initiate the hug this time. Come on. Come here. Zayne hesitates before leaning down. Then he wraps his arms around me. His warm breast brushes against my neck.
Good morning.
Before taking Zayne home, he accompanies me to association. I'm going to update them on my progress in the Alterum investigation. Then how do I cover with... Oh, okay then. Dawnbreaker vanished overnight. Some people on the forums joked that he had been broken by the dawn. The police investigation has hit a dead end, and the relentless snowfall is still the biggest obstacle for gathering evidence at the crime scene. While waiting for Zayne to finish shopping, I sit in the car and look at today's news.
Ever, which announced the Fountain of Atay initiative, has revealed the first phase of the project, the Val Sanatorium.
Ugh, freaking ever.
According to several reports, Val Sanatorium is using medical pods called Rebirth cocoons to treat patients with protocore syndrome.
God damn it, it's just the cocoons that the kids escape from. Rebirth cocoons. My mind quickly latches onto this word. I heard this term yesterday.
You're right. They all died like that, after emerging from their cocoons. Rather than let the cocoon turn me into a mindless monster, I'd rather die.
The cocoons the Alterum mentioned must be those rebirth cocoons. Sensing my troubled thoughts, the white creature pushes his fluffy self from the back seat to settle on my lap. Are you trying to comfort me? Aw, thank you. When Zayne woke up, I asked about the animal. He said it belonged to some distant relatives. As for why he got lost, stole my scarf, and refuses to leave Zayne's side, Zayne says he's not sure. So, what kind of creature are you? I decide to take out my phone and use its image recognition feature. As the screen refreshes, it shows a majestic Baizi, the divine beast of antiquity, knows all beneath heaven and earth. Huh? With trembling hands, I cup its face, my gaze traveling from his clear eyes to the tiny horns protruding like fresh sprouts near his ears. As I struggle to find the right words, Zayne returns to the car. He has a bag of chocolates and dog food. Since you brought dog food, why don't you keep him? After all, your robot vacuum is the only other living thing in your house. Shouldn't it have a friend?
That won't be necessary. My robot vacuum has its own social life.
Probably more of a social life than you. Through the windshield, the warm glow of our headlights cuts through the heavy snowy gloom. A figure is looking around while standing near Zayne's house. It's a young boy in plain clothes. He's holding books in his arms. As soon as we get out of the car, the boy's face lights up with excitement and anticipation. He spreads his arms wide. Forgotten, the books fall to the ground.
Emissary!
Emissary? Right, so this is what a Baizi looks like. It's probably some mythological legend stuff. I think I've seen it before in some paintings and some sculptures, but otherwise, yeah. Okay, back to the story now. The unfamiliar teenager rushes towards Zayne, who's standing beside me. The mysterious little creature, wagging his tail, the Baizi, runs over as well. Soon enough, all three of them are tangled in a group hug.
Let go of me.
The teenager steps back. Then he hurriedly scoops up the small animal.
So that's where you went, Shuchi. Why didn't you tell me?
Watching this harmonious scene between human and animal, I'm touched, but then I quickly become confused. What did he just call you? Emissary? Is he role-playing as your servant, or your son in a fantasy setting?
Don't jump to conclusions. He's the son of a distant relative, and he loves sci-fi movies and cartoons. I suppose his latest hobby is running away from home.
But now that I'm looking at him, this kid kind of reminds me of... I studied the boy's round face, his straight posture, and those mature eyes sparkling with excitement. Come to think of it, there really is a teeny tiny resemblance— Hey! Before I can finish my sentence, Zayne swiftly taps his knuckle against the top of my head.
You should channel your brain power into writing a research paper instead.
I'm just teasing you. I know you don't look like this when you were younger. I lean down to get a better look at the boy. He has delicate features and appears to be around 11 or 12 years old. Do you live in Lincoln too?
Well, you could say that. I live in the Fractal Library.
Fractal Library. Very interesting.
Excuse me?
In a nearby residential area.
The Fractal Library. I've never heard of it before. It must be a new building? Knowing he's related to Zayne, I find myself adopting a gentler, friendlier tone. Is this little guy your pet? What breed? Actually, what kind of animal is it?
He's just a regular pet dog. He's not special. Go on, Shuchi. Bark.
Not that bark.
That's not the correct sound.
露馅了.
Okay, now shake.
The small creature glances at me and then at Zayne. He swallows his pride and places his paw in the boy's palm. Zayne stands by the wall with his arms crossed. When he looks and sees my skeptical look, he looks away. The boy's face relaxes with relief as his expression shifts to one that says, I told you so. Can you speak? Maybe I'm the one losing my mind here. Seemingly unable to watch any longer, Zayne waves his phone.
I just got a text from his parents. They're going to pick him up.
Already? Can't you stay for a little while longer?
I was actually planning to stay for a while.
Zayne's sharp gaze sweeps over the boy. I might be imagining things, but the child and the dog freeze.
Right. I wanted to say hello. Uncle Zayne will send me home.
It's cold, so you should head inside. I'll see him off.
In the dim daylight, Zayne watches the girl wave goodbye. She's out of sight once she closes the door behind her. The boy catches a snowflake in his palm and silently watches it melt.
Why did you come here?
Hearing the scrutiny in Zayne's voice, the boy's expression shifts to match its severity.
7 years ago, you promised to take up the position at the Fractal Library. I traveled here because I'm asking you to fulfill that promise. You were selected as the emissary of the Divine. Astra ordained it, and your nightmare is the greatest proof of this.
Zayne speaks before the boy can say more.
I also said that I had my own choices to make and more important matters to attend to back then.
The boy's expression grows serene, and his voice carries a maturity unlike the one from a few seconds ago.
Was becoming that version of yourself in the nightmare also a choice? People think they're making choices most of the time, yet they're unaware that all these options lead to one inevitable outcome. Fate falls upon us like this snow. It is silent and inevitable. And you too are destined to become...
He trails off. The only sound that can be heard is nothing more than a barely audible sigh.
Since you haven't made up your mind, there's no point in me staying here any longer. But...
The maturity and composure vanish as the boy's voice shifts back to a childlike tone.
I left the excesses bracelet you made for me at the library. Can you make me another one, please?
After a resigned sigh, an ice bracelet materializes around the boy's wrist.
Thank you, emissary. I'll take my leave now.
Wait, is this...
In any case, you're welcome to find me at the Fractal Library in Lincoln City. I'll be sure to visit you again as well.
The boy slightly raises his hand and his fingertips touch the air as a geometric shape gradually unfolds. He bows before stepping into the door, woven from countless folded dimensions. So this relates to the Forcemus.
Emissary is a liar. I counted every single day for 7 years.
As if drawn to his accusation, the wind and snow seem to follow through the vanishing door. They're silent. The snow ceases, and Zayne remembers the first time he entered the Fractal Library. Even though it's called a library, its exterior was remarkably ordinary. It was a building nestled in a quiet corner of Lincoln City's silent streets. The young boy begged him again and again. Soon he pushed open the slightly wizard wooden door. There were neither bookshelves nor defined boundaries. Instead, an endless garden with intertwining paths appeared before him. Okay, then the background's inaccurate. And a library that seemed to belong in another world stood at the point where those paths converged. Never mind. As soon as Zayne stepped into the backlight, he raised his head and saw countless bookshelves. They reached toward a tower's summit where sunlight poured in. The library's shelves were endless. They were like stairs that led to another dimension. Then a young person approached him and claimed that Zayne and the young boy were the administrators of this place. In addition, Zayne was destined to become the Fractal Library's owner. The young person told him that the Fractal Library, which stood at the intersection of dimensions, didn't really exist in any galaxy. It didn't belong in any civilization either. And each book in the library contained the fate of a world. Zayne wondered if his own fate was among them. Perhaps these nightmares were hidden within a page of these large volumes from the moment he pushed open the door. On the night he returned home from the library, Zayne had a different dream. In that unfamiliar world, he wore robes as he walked into a very tall tower. He was leafing through an ancient tome. Between its pages lay a jasmine petal from a spring day. And that spring day belonged to a timeline he had erased with his own hands. It would forever remain unknown to anyone. Just as Zayne enters the house, I finish roasting the tangerines he bought. Oh, interesting way to eat. When I glance out the window, I realize the snow has finally stopped. Did your relative leave already? He must have a strict family.
Yes. He needs to go home and write his reflection paper.
There's a distant quality to Zayne's voice. I sit down beside him and hold out one of the roasted tangerines. Here you go. Eat up. Eat it. The weather is perfect for roasted tangerines. Try it. He stares at me for a long time before finally eating a piece of the tangerine.
You don't want to know what happened during the past few days when I disappeared?
If the explanation is going to be filled with medical jargon, then no. As for the rest, Zayne will tell me when he wants to, and if he doesn't want to, that's his choice. He can't help but smile at my deliberate emphasis on the last words. He takes the half-peeled tangerine from my hands. Soon after, a warm orange slice is brought into my lips.
I said goodbye 3 days ago because I had accepted Carter's invitation. I'll be joining the Fountain of Atay research project.
Okay. Seeing me choke and cough several times, Zayne raises his hand to pat my back.
It's ultimately an excuse. Something unexpected happened, and the nightmare arrived before I could carry out my plans. Lately, Oxo Hospital has received a large influx of unusual cases involving Protocore syndrome patients. Some died shortly after hospitalization. Others transformed within a month and became...
an Alterum. Zayne nods.
All these patients had recovered at Val Sanatorium after entering a medical pod called the Rebirth Cocoon.
Val Sanatorium, according to the news report this morning, is the first phase of the Fountain of Atay.
Carter told me that Ever will soon hold a press conference to demonstrate the Rebirth Cocoon's effectiveness to the public.
Wouldn't that mean more unsuspecting Protocore syndrome patients will go to Val Sanatorium?
We can't let them do as they please.
So...
I want to stop Ever's plans, not just for the Protocore syndrome patients. There's...
Zayne trails off as he lowers his gaze.
I want to make amends for a mistake. One that should have been corrected years ago. Yet it still haunts me to this day.
Must be William. I realize that for Zayne, this carries a greater, more painful significance.
I know I disappeared without a word before, but... will you come with me this time?
You're inviting me? Asking me like that isn't fair. I know he helped me so many times before, and I'd agree to any request he makes. It's just... I still need a reason. Now that he's finally revealing everything to me, I won't let him have his way so easily. What's in it for me? The whereabouts of the ESA core, dirt on Ever, or more leads about the biometric key? A few sweet words aren't enough to make me risk my life with you. I need a more convincing reason.
Do you remember what you told me about the Deepspace collision chamber at the Gaia Research Center?
Yes, they conducted experiments to create me, their precious energy source.
Ever plans to restart that project. The new program they're showcasing at the sanatorium might be related to it.
I see.
Isn't that a very convincing invitation?
Dazed, I see something flicker out of the corner of my eye. A fluffy white tail. Wait. Zayne and I turn around at the same time. Shichi, aren't you supposed to be with your owner? Crashed near the robot vacuum, Shichi whimpers. Those clear, innocent round eyes look at me first and then at Zayne.
You're staying here to watch the house.
In the white testing facility, a row of circular medical pods lines the room. Surrounded by soft, silvery light, they float in the air. Their translucent walls gleam with tranquility. Exquisite and graceful like meticulously crafted chrysalises, they pulse and contract with the rhythm of beating hearts. At any moment, it seems their contents might break free and soar toward the sky. The next day. After After driving west on the highway for 2 hours, patches of green vegetation finally appear amidst the desolate landscape. Looking through the window, I can see the distant dome of Val Sanatorium looming in the morning mist. After yesterday's events, we decided to tour the sanatorium as visitors to investigate. The Fountain of Vitae, the Rebirth Cocoon, and the press conference. None of these can be tackled in a single move. However, we can assess the situation first before planning our next move. But won't it be too obvious for us? Are we almost there? I feed the last cookie to Zayne as he drives. He nods and takes a moment to gather his thoughts before speaking.
There are things I need to tell you. The technology used in the Rebirth Cocoon is from a research project Carter and I worked on when we were in medical school. Back then, I began researching the application of protocors in implantable devices under Dr. Noah's guidance. It was also something I was interested in personally. At first, the research progressed smoothly. Yet when we started doing experiments... We need to stop researching this. The protocor energy has completely corroded the heart. Our experiment failed.
But the heart started beating again. It just grew some black crystals, that's all. Did you know? The lab mouse we performed a protocor implant surgery on transformed into a wanderer and devoured its fellow test subjects. Zayne, our experiment wasn't a failure. We succeeded!
Not quite.
We've discovered humanity's next evolutionary form! We definitely need to visit that barbecue place near the campus tonight to celebrate.
The experiment didn't lead to new life. It turned people into wanderers, minions of a protocor. It was a Pandora's box that should have remained sealed. I destroyed all the related research data that day. I hope to keep this truth buried forever.
But Carter didn't see it that way, huh?
No. He named it X-Heart and took it to Xander Sciences. It was later implemented in the Rebirth Cocoon, which is the first step in the Fountain of Vitae.
After finishing his story, Zayne falls silent. However, his grip on the steering wheel indicates he's still caught in his memories. This is the mistake he wanted to make amends for. Not wanting him to dwell on the past, I clear my throat and lighten the mood. I used to think about how if we've gone to the same university, I would have dragged you out to have fun every single day. We'd watch the flowers bloom in spring, enjoy the summer rain, collect autumn leaves, and have snowball fights in winter. But based on what I heard, you must have been too busy to do any of that with me.
Not at all. In our lab, we always said it's best to take a 4-hour break while data is being collected. Then we can see the results after. So during those times, I would have been available at least.
Oh, come on.
I was joking. If you were there, I would have always made time for you.
How sweet. The car turns onto a newly paved road, passes a sign that reads Val Sanatorium, and comes to a stop in the parking lot.
I'm not familiar with the sanatorium's interior layout. If you encounter any danger during this visit, remember not to go in alone.
Don't worry, I'm a professional. While I speak, I catch a glimpse of White approaching us. Weren't you supposed to be our house sitter? Carter, who's here to receive us, wears a casual white business suit. Only a navy blue butterfly pin adorns his collar. Okay, it's not the dog.
Have you been waiting long, Zayne?
No, we just got here.
Carter leans down toward the car window. Upon seeing me, his eyes crinkle and his smile widens.
When Zayne called about needing 2 visitor passes, I had a feeling you'd be accompanying him.
I compose myself. Smiling politely, I step out of the car, but just as I'm about to speak...
Let's skip the pleasantries and head inside.
Okay, let's do that then. Following Carter, we enter the long corridor that connects the parking lot to the sanatorium's lobby. My gaze falls on the emblem at the entrance. Under the curved shape are the following: Eternity Vanquishes Evolution Restraint Group. Without a doubt, this is Ever's logo. Wait, what was that? Eternity Vanquishes Evolution's Restraint. Okay, that makes sense. No wonder it's Ever. I thought it was Ever because of Forever. Carter activates the scanner and a white light immediately sweeps over Zayne and me. A cheerful, electronic female voice speaks.
Visitor identification verified. Zayne. I am Telomere, the AI management system of Val Sanatorium. Welcome to our facility. We hope you have a good day here at the sanatorium.
Thank you, AI. The doors slide open and we enter the first floor lobby of Val Sanatorium. Pristine white surrounds us. The ceiling is unadorned, its white surface seamlessly integrated with the recessed lighting system across its edges. Beneath our feet, a gentle light bathes the white marble floor and illuminates every corner of the lobby. This place seems...
bright yet oppressive.
Yeah. Pristine, silent, and unchanging. It's as if time itself stands still within these walls. In this environment, Zayne and I stand out like two stains on an otherwise white canvas. A few doctors in white lab coats pass us by. Although they were quietly discussing patients' medical conditions, they nodded in Carter's direction.
Since Zayne personally asked me for visitor clearance, I should give you two a proper tour.
How kind of you. Side by side, we follow Carter as he leads us to the reception desk in the center of the lobby.
I see the Fountain of Vitae finally caught your interest. All those phone calls over the past month weren't in vain. But I'm curious, what made you change your mind?
Must have been some heavy recruitment going on. Carter stops in his tracks by the reception desk. He turns around, his signature smile returning with narrowed eyes.
You kept talking about humanity's future. I wanted to see if it would actually come to pass. Besides, nobody knows Exhard better than me.
Carter's eyes twitches. After a long silence, he suddenly erupts into a fit of laughter and shatters the lobby's tranquility.
Good, good. You've convinced me. Everyone deserves a second chance at redemption. Remember, Zayne, I gave you this chance. And what about you, Miss Hunter?
When I received this question, I delivered my carefully prepared response. Well, since Zayne is joining the research project, I wanted to see what it's all about. Carter tilts his head. His gaze flits between Zayne and me before settling on Zayne. The amusement in his eyes is obvious.
I see. Even the strongest relationships need a solid foundation. I'll make sure you get a good position here.
He turns around and shakes the brochure stand next to him. The neatly arranged brochures scatter in disarray, and he pulls out 2 copies in a smile. He gives them to us.
The only downside to this place is that it's too by the book. But I guess that doesn't really affect you, Zayne.
It's about complicated medical cases. The Sim booklet methodically characterizes various diseases and conventional medicines has yet to cure. It's like a university department with the facility's patients, our eager students with a thirst for knowledge. A commotion breaks out in the distance. I look up. It's a group of elegantly dressed visitors being led into the lobby by a receptionist. They're being guided upstairs for a tour. On the staircase leading to the 2nd floor, several patients in white hospital gowns are walking down the steps. I expected to see many high-profile figures in this place, but even then, I never thought I'd see her. Karine, who's 43 years old, is a war correspondent. She won numerous prestigious journalism awards. She spent years reporting from the front lines, faced countless life-threatening situations, and has earned a large amount of respect in society. A year ago, she was attacked by a wanderer, got protocol syndrome, and rarely appeared in public since then. I've met her a few times at Axel Hospital. I heard she was one of Zayne's patients.
Dr. Zayne, it's been a while.
Noticing us, she comes over to say hello. Zayne acknowledges her with a slight nod.
Miss Karen?
Someone of her caliber choosing ever. That's probably the best endorsement they could ask for.
I heard that when she left Axo Hospital, she had less than 2 months to live. Her daughter had just learned to say mama when you handed her a death sentence. How cruel.
Dr. Carter, the patient in room A504.
Carter gestures for us to wait for a moment. Then he takes a few steps to discuss something with the man at the front desk. Noticing my silence, Zayne stops in his tracks.
What are you thinking about?
It's nothing. I just realized that Eva seems to have a knack for exploiting human vulnerabilities by any means necessary. How else could they gather people from different backgrounds and beliefs to make them devoted to a single cause? It's very much like religion or starting a cult.
The key to obedience isn't promising heaven, it's using hell as a threat. After all, everyone fears illness and death.
Isn't that the reporter? The detective? Ah. I turn.
We meet again, Miss Hunter. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Benedict, the director of Val Sanatorium.
You were the detective from earlier. From what I remember, he had another identity. I met him at the place where an Alterum died.
I'm honored you remembered me, Miss Hunter.
He smiles not with the embarrassment of someone whose identity has been exposed, but with the composure of a performer waiting for the audience's reaction to a grand reveal. Alarm bells ring in my mind, but he quickly shifts his placid gaze to Zayne.
It's been a while, Dr. Zayne. Welcome aboard.